What's up, everybody? I am so sorry the system crashed as I started the stream and I just got it back up and running. I apologize for that. I hope everybody's having a fantastic Friday. And I am going to start back up what I had on so you guys can catch it. I'm so sorry it cut off in the middle of that. I came across this video and I thought it was pretty funny, and it is so true about the health and food industry and how they just seem to keep evolving and changing with what's good for you and what's not good for you. So here you go. Take a look.
Oh, you're terrible.
Well, I'm so basic today, Dad. Got my
Wait! Stop! Don't eat that food!
black leggings.
What are you doing in our house?
I'm from the future. I'm here to warn you, don't eat that food.
Relax, Fred.
Why not?
The eggs, they're full of cholesterol.
What?
Cholesterol, it clogs up your arteries. Eating even just one egg can dramatically increase your chance of heart attack. Don't eat eggs.
Oh my God, thank you.
You're welcome. Godspeed.
This is what they used to say. Thank you. Thanks, I appreciate it.
Well, I guess I better take those eggs.
Wait! Stop!
You're back.
Yeah, we were wrong about the eggs.
How?
Well, it turns out there's two types of cholesterol. There's good cholesterol and bad cholesterol, and eggs actually have both. So you can eat eggs, but just don't eat the egg yolks.
This is so
Stick with the egg whites.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, Godspeed.
So many studies, you guys know this is what goes on.
Wait! We were wrong about the eggs.
Again?
Yeah, okay, so it turns out that the amount of cholesterol in a food doesn't actually affect how much cholesterol ends up in your blood. The eggs are probably fine. In fact, we sort of don't even know what cholesterol is. But the steak!
So true.
You can't eat the steak!
Why not?
Turns out that red meat increases your chance of heart attack. You have to cut out red meat. So no steak!
Thank you.
Godspeed.
What? No steak, mister.
What?
Wait! We were wrong about the steak. It's the toast. Man was not meant to eat bread.
What do you mean man was not meant to eat bread?
Well, if you think about it, human beings should really only be eating what our Paleolithic ancestors ate. So, therefore, no bread, no toast.
How do you know what our Paleolithic ancestors ate?
Well, we just have to guess, right? I mean, we don't have any way of knowing what...
All right. I won't keep on with it. I just thought that was so funny because it's so true. The industry just can't seem to get it together with the facts, what the facts are. So it is a big guessing game, though, right? They're just like studies. They have more time to do studies. They're like, okay, so this works, but this doesn't work. That works, but that doesn't work. Because I remember when I used to eat so many eggs, and then when I started my nutrition courses, they're like, no, actually, the most benefits come from the yolk. Or I would eat so many eggs, but I would eat so many egg whites. That's what I meant to say. I would eat so many egg whites. And then when I was learning about the nutrition, it said, wait a second, you can't just eat the egg whites. You have to have the yolk. The yolk with the egg white mixed in is what gives you all the health benefits. So taking the yolk out is like taking away from the health benefits. Who knew? So now, yeah, eat the whole egg. Just eat the whole egg. It's good for you. It's a gift from God to the chickens and the chickens to you. You're not eating the chicken's babies. A lot of people think that. They think that they're eating the chicken's babies. Those are different types of eggs. Like females have eggs in our body that, it's not, I guess it is, I don't know, it's different. It's different. I would let somebody that's more profound on learning or teaching you about farm animals than I am. But, the eggs, I'm all about those eggs, but 2 eggs a week drops your rate of getting dementia and Alzheimer's by 50%, you guys. That's a new study. 50%. Like, that's a lot. I think that's a lot. Anyway, there was another thing I wanted to show you guys. We talked a lot about if you didn't see yesterday, if you didn't see the podcast yesterday, all about what your body type is, what eating for your body type, working out for your body type. Right now, we're just focusing on the eating part. So, eating for your body type, you guys know I spent 4 weeks eating bad, feeling all the feels that comes along with fast foods and sweets and all that stuff. It is so I forgot that life. I forgot how detrimental that is to your system and how it makes you feel, not just your physical body changing, but how your mental is like so cloudy and like not in a great mood and always tired. So I definitely got another, I guess, a fresh look at how people are walking around that are eating bad foods all the time. So that's why I started that 15-day slim down that I'm joining in with you guys. I'm posting out my progress every day from here until Thanksgiving. So I hope you guys are following along with the guidelines that I'm putting up every day. Proof is in the pudding. It's helped so many of my clients. It's a catch-all 15-day kickstart, and we're on day 3. So, but it's wild to see how much your body changes in that amount of time. Trying to put that weight on was very hard and it wasn't very fun. I mean, it was fun in the moment of eating it, but it wasn't fun because I knew what the aftermath was. So, but I knew once I got back on the plan, I can show you guys how quickly your body will respond if you go from eating sweets, eating snacks, eating fried foods, chips, ice cream, French fries, takeout, Chinese food, all those things. If you just get on the program, commit. You have to commit. You have to commit to whatever the days. I'm doing 15 days is where you should go. But as you can see, I'm taking out certain things. I'm leaving whatever else you're eating other than the fried foods and the sweets. I did take that out. But I didn't take your carbs away. And, I did take your sodas away. And I did take your sweet teas out here in the South. But those things are bad for you, and you're only committing yours this time. I said, even if you can't do the 50, even if you feel like 15 days is daunting and it's keeping you back from even trying, give me 5 days. If you can do those 5 days, you're going to see such a huge difference, even in the 5 days. And those 5 days, I promise, will motivate you to want to do the 15 days. Telling you right now, it's a thing and it happens. So we talked about the body types and we talked about belly and belly fat and different types of things you might have going on in your body because of the belly fat and where that might be coming from. So today let me close this up a little bit. I want to show you guys the video I was talking about for the guy's named Dr. Berg. You guys know I love that doctor. And he is so good about explaining and breaking everything down. Me with my 3 baby mommy brain, sometimes I get a little clouded on the memory of
down below.
the name of things and
Let's
how
talk about
people
how to get rid.
So, let me get you on here. Let me open this back up so you guys can see this video with me. I love him. You guys should follow this doctor. He spent his whole life dedicated to um, breaking down the body, what makes it tick, what doesn't, in all different body types. And he's so informative, but he also is so good about breaking it down in terms that you can understand. A lot of people, he was old school, like back in school with a whiteboard, and he's like drawing diagrams and stuff like that. I don't know. That's how I learn. I like to learn like that. I'm very visual or hands-on. It's hard for me to just hear words and process it all. I'm very creative in the sense of I need visual and hands-on, and he's very good about that. So you may like him, you may not, but I'm gonna play his video on cellulite because it's very interesting. Because a lot of people suffer from cellulite, and a lot of us women are super embarrassed by it. And I know my mother, my grandmother, her grandmother, all suffered from cellulite no matter what, and they were not big ladies. They were all very tiny ladies. They just have cellulite. So thank you, great grandma, and so on, for passing that along. But if I didn't eat in such a strict regime, then I probably would be, you know, going through it a little bit more than my grandma, who, she just ate what she ate, and that was that. She's old school like that. So, what's up, Bo? I don't know if you tuned in earlier, but that crashed. I don't know what happened. I crashed my system, but glad you're back. Okay, so here is Dr. Berg, and he is going to break down the cellulite, getting rid of cellulite for good for us.
Rid of cellulite, the cottage cheese-like appearance that you don't want on your body. I did a video on this a while ago, but I wanted to update it because I have some new information that you're going to be excited about. Now, just realize there are things you can do that will create a significant difference in cellulite. Sometimes people will tell you there's nothing you can do, so just live with it. Don't buy into that. On that note, in order to fix a problem, we have to really understand the problem. The more we understand it, the easier it is to fix it. And when people talk about cellulite, there are so many different theories, so many different treatments, so many different viewpoints, okay? But I found some great, fascinating data in a patent, which I'm going to put the link down below. And the cool thing about a patent is they organize all of the research on cellulite for you, so that gives you a head start. So you have something to work off of. Here's some information that will kind of give you a little foundation before I get into what to do. Cellulite only occurs in the butt, thighs, and hip. It does not occur in the breast, the arm, or your stomach, okay? Now, what's interesting about that is that in this area of the body, there are twice as many alpha-2 receptors. Now, what is an alpha-2 receptor?
See,
an alpha-2
this is what I
receptor
like.
is in the fat cell,
down
and it tells the body to store fat for later use, okay? And so one of the big purposes of this fat around this lower part of the body is to act as a reserve for pregnancy, okay, in lean times.
Probably why
So
men
this
don't
fat can
get
actually
much
provide
cellulite.
fuel for the baby if someone's pregnant. So what else do we know? We know that cellulite gets worse with pregnancies, okay? It gets worse when you take hormone
Pretty
replacement
true.
therapy. It gets worse when you take birth control pills. It gets worse with
Thanks, Bo.
menopause. So normally,
Great.
okay, right underneath the
We'll look
skin,
forward to that later
you
on.
have this very structured, organized, connective tissue, like a fishnet that holds everything real nice and organized and very, very tight. So that way we have this nice smooth layer of skin on the outside, and then we have the fat layer, and then we have the muscle right underneath it. That's in a normal situation. With cellulite, the bands, the collagen bands, are partially or completely dissolved. And that is some new information that I recently found out about. Okay, so
How do you get
what's
the bands
happening
back?
is you're getting this loss of this fibrous fishnet that's supposed to hold these fat cells really nice and organized.
I usually
And they
don't
are
have the
basically
bands.
all chaotic, and they're pushing up against the skin now because there's nothing to hold them in place, and they're creating this dimple cottage cheese-like appearance. You also have an enlarged fat cell. You have usually thin skin. We have circulation loss. Sometimes we have fluid retention. Sometimes we have a backup of the lymphatic system. And we usually always have atrophy of the muscles underneath. So it's a combination of quite a few things. But the question is, why? What is causing this loss of this collagen?
Cellulite?
Well, this is not a fat problem.
Or bird?
This is a collagen disorder caused by excess estrogen, okay? Now, wait a second. How can it be excess estrogen if someone has menopause? Well,
Thank you.
during menopause,
Thanks, Hal.
you have a loss of ovary function. And what a lot of people don't know is you have other parts of your body that also make estrogen, like your fat cells, like your skin cells. They actually make estrogen.
I'm
And the
taking
way that they
notes
make it
like in
is
school.
through an enzyme called aromatase. So what aromatase does, right underneath the skin and in the fat cell, is it converts testosterone into estrogen. So it's going to get this extra estrogen from the testosterone. And probably what's happening, and there's this compensatory or compensating mechanism when there's lower estrogen to then make more
I guess men
in
don't have
various
much
places.
aromatase.
And so we have two things going on. We have
Much.
this excess estrogen that destroys collagen fibers and elastin. Okay, if there's too much, if there's just a right amount, it's not going to destroy anything. But if there's too much, it's going to be a problem. And if there's excess aromatase,
Oh, you got cellulite.
that is going to destroy the fibroblasts that make the collagen underneath the skin. And so you're going to end up with like virtually nothing to hold this fat in place. And that is the jiggly kind of fat that people just want to get rid of. And so they get on a diet, they start losing fat, and it just never gets rid of the cellulite because it's not a fat problem. And it's not even necessarily a diet problem directly, even though that is involved indirectly. It's really a hormonal problem, mainly to do with estrogen, but there's other hormones involved too, like cortisol, because the cortisol is going to create the atrophy of the muscle, like a loss of growth hormone as you age. That's the main fat-burning hormone. Like insulin, which if you have too much insulin, that's going to block any chance of losing fat, which now this enlarged fat cell never is able to go away. So we want to reduce insulin. And then melatonin, not just for your sleep, for your antioxidants. There's a lot of interesting new information about melatonin in another video that is very interesting. But the loss of melatonin can create a lot of issues related to cellulite, as well as just fat burning in general, and having a nice quality sleep, and preventing a lot of illnesses. And then we have DHEA. This is kind of like a pre-hormone that will help you make other hormones. And usually as we age, we become deficient in this precursor. And so that could be another issue as well. All right, so now that you have the foundation, let's go into a plan of what you can do about it. Okay, here's the plan. Number one, we have to fix the atrophy problem. How do we do that? We have to stimulate the muscles. Which ones? The glutes, the thighs, and the hip muscles. There's some really good exercises to isolate those muscles. Doing lunges, squats, and also retro walking. Now, what is that? That is walking backwards. It's an awesome exercise to stimulate the areas where people have cellulite. And you can even do it on the treadmill if you do it very gradually, because if you do it too fast, you can hurt yourself. So I'm going to put links down below so you can learn how to do each of these with the right form and do it correctly. Don't just jump and start doing it. I found some really good videos relating to these three things right here. Now, as far as walking backwards, you can do this at a park. Just, watch where you're going, okay? And of course, when you're treadmill, you start off like with 1 mile an hour and you just gradually increase. There's another video I'm going to put down below that shows you a higher level of doing this. It should only be done once you've gotten in pretty good shape, but I found a video that's just awesome that would really work this whole area, because what we have to do is we have to stimulate these muscles to cause growth hormone to be activated and to increase the muscle tone underneath this whole thing. That's going to help greatly. Now, I wanted to put number 4 for certain people, but not everyone, because this is pretty intense. I recently did a video on the most powerful high intensity interval training exercise, which is sprinting. It's called a HIIT exercise. This will produce the most fat burning of anything. The problem with it, you can't do it with bad knees or a bad back. You have to be in pretty good shape to do this, and you have to go really, really light. In other words, if you overdo it, you're going to be sore for a long period of time, because you're doing this massively intense workout with like 100% effort, and you really can only go for a short period of time. In fact, I only recommend going for 10 seconds, just doing it 2 or 3 times max, maybe 2 times, right? Because you're going to feel so sore the next day, you're probably not going to get out of bed, like myself, where I did it a lot longer, thinking that I was 18 again. And so I'm only 29, so I don't know why I can't handle it. But you can get very, very sore with this sprinting. And You're going to work muscles that you've never, ever worked before, but it's
10
very, very
seconds is not
therapeutic.
long.
Maybe you're not going to do a hardcore flat out sprint. Maybe you just do it like at 50%. All right, so you're going to watch these videos and start to stimulate these muscles on a regular basis, okay? Number 2, you're going to fix the circulation problem. What happens with cellulite is you
lot of y'all
lose the
have this.
vascular system right underneath the
Sitting too
skin.
long,
So we get a lot of
moving around.
congestion. We don't have a lot of circulation. We get a lot of free radical damage, and everything is kind of chaotic. So there's a couple things you could do to increase blood flow to the area. There are several things you can do. You can do the rebound exercises, okay? I have a video on that. I will put that down below.
Rebound exercise.
And you can also do red light
Everything I know about
therapy. They have
rebound
these
is
little
my growth
wands
starts
that you
to
can rub
melt.
on your skin. Now, at first you're thinking, that's not going to do anything. But there's some really powerful research using infrared light. It's extremely
I'm gonna do a video
therapeutic
on that.
for increasing
my infrared light.
melatonin. Okay, if you haven't seen my video on that, I put that down below too. Melatonin is one of the most powerful antioxidants in your entire
Really?
body.
Did
So
not
it's going
know.
to protect the mitochondria from all this free radical damage. So it's going to help you just stay healthy and prevent the aging of the skin. And it's going to help you sleep. Apparently the pineal gland is really only a backup to this other melatonin in all the other cells in the body, which is stimulated by infrared from the sun in other locations. But you can use the red light therapy to increase melatonin. Some people are doing it with the infrared saunas, and there's a lot of different things you can do with that.
I could
So
get
that's
down
one
with
thing you
that.
can do to increase
I
melatonin,
love a sauna.
increase antioxidants, and increase your sleep, which is going to lower cortisol and help you recover much better
Sleep,
from
you
this workout.
guys. You gotta sleep.
Doing a dry
Sleep.
brush, okay? I did a video on this where you're getting this brush and you're rubbing the superficial part of your
feels
skin
real soft
to
after
stimulate
that.
a reaction in your skin to cause it some stress so it can rebound and improve circulation. A lot of great data on this. I would highly recommend getting a dry brush and stimulating the
You can get
outside of
those
the
at,
skin,
like,
which is going to affect the
anywhere.
inside of the
Target,
skin,
CVS,
right below the
Walmart,
surface.
Walgreens.
The other thing you can
whatever
do
you have in your area.
is to get a massage in this area down here on a regular basis, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to get more blood flow. We're trying to
I
get
used to
more
do those massages.
lymph moving through the body. The lymph system is at the end of the circulatory system. So you have all the vascular system that ends up in the capillaries, and then it crosses over into the lymph system, okay? And that it's a whole different circulatory system. And so when you do like rebound exercises and you do red light therapy, dry brush, massage, these are all really good
Yeah,
to
look up
stimulate
what's rebound.
circulation and as well as lymphatic drainage. All right, the next
You
one,
can get
fix the
ladies and
collagen
facials,
problem.
men and facials.
How are we going to do
The
that?
lymphatic drainage.
Well, there's a condition called autophagy, and that occurs when you do fasting. Autophagy is a condition that allows you to recycle old damaged proteins, as in collagen scar tissue, fibrous tissue. And not only does it break that down, it replaces it with new tissue. So autophagy is a condition that is very rejuvenating, it's anti-aging, and you want to start doing fasting on a regular basis. Not only that, fasting will stimulate growth hormone, it'll allow you to burn ketones, which is all very therapeutic to your skin, as well as
we're
help
gonna
you
talk about
lose
that
the
today.
fat directly. So
Fasting.
I would recommend doing intermittent fasting on a regular basis, as well as prolonged fasting on more of a periodic basis. I have a lot of videos. I'll put a link down below of how you can get started. And then I'm going to recommend
We
getting
talked
an
about some of that
aromatase
yesterday's
inhibitor
podcast.
cream. Okay. I'm not going to get into brands because I don't want to mention a brand and all of a sudden if they change the formula, then you're going to blame me, the whole thing. So you're going to have to do your research on that. You want to get aromatase inhibitor cream. You can get them on Amazon. You can buy them from
Aromatase
various health food stores.
inhibitor
One is
cream.
called DIM. Okay. That's a concentrated cruciferous version. You don't want to get the pills. You want to get the topical version and you want to rub it into your skin, okay, each night before you go to bed.
I
What is
did
this
not
going to
think
do?
that those worked
It's going to
very well.
help
But
reduce
maybe I did
this
it just the right
aromatase which is creating the damage. So we can actually stop the bleeding and we can actually start to turn things around. So this is just one piece of data
All right.
that I found in that patent that was very fascinating with all the research that backs it
We'll
up.
have to try this
Okay,
out,
so
guys.
mistakes that people make. Going too fast, okay, when you're exercising. You can very easily overdo it and then be completely sore for a very long time. So you want to go into it very slowly when you start out, especially if you have atrophy. All right, the next mistake is
Out your
working out
form too,
over
you guys.
soreness. So if you're sore,
Form.
don't keep working out, because the benefit of that workout is to get sore and then recover, okay? If you work out over soreness, you're basically damaging an already damaged muscle. All right, the next point is not creating enough stimulus for the muscles. So if you're going too light and you're not doing it enough, that's another problem. So we want the optimum amount of stimulus to the muscles so you actually feel it and you get sore, and then you're going to let it heal. So we don't want to go too light and too infrequent. The other point is your sleep. If your sleep is poor, then you're going to have a hard time having this work out, because the cortisol is going to be very high. The insulin is going to be very high because of the cortisol. And that's one point you really want to focus on. But the infrared information can greatly help melatonin and help you sleep.
Okay.
All right, and last point, a big mistake is not giving enough time. Thinking it's going to happen in a couple weeks. Unfortunately, you have probably years of breakdown of this collagen, this web-like fibrous net that's been breaking down. And it's going to take some time. It's going to take some months, and it could take even up to a year, maybe a year and a half. But just realize
I guess it
that
depends on
you're going to
how stressed you
improve
are.
the more you do it, but you just want to stick to it to the point where you start seeing change. The problem is when you evaluate yourself today versus tomorrow, you see nothing. So the change is going to be so gradual, you're going to think it's not working. So I highly recommend you take pictures before and after, maybe once a month, so you can visually see that it is working.
Pictures
All right, and
are
if you haven't seen
huge.
my video on melatonin yet, I think that would be a perfect next video to watch. Check it out right here.
I didn't plan on watching the melatonin video, but we are advocates of taking melatonin.
So today we're going to talk about melatonin.
So, yeah, like, for me to get me to wind my mind down at the end of the day is, I feel like it's like Grand Central Station in there. It's like constant thoughts and ideas and what I'm doing, and a scrolling list of like what needs to be done, what I got to get done, what I want to do, and all of these things. So I do take melatonin. So I'm going to be interested in finding out what he's got to say about melatonin playing a part in your body. But I do like doctors who come on, right? And I've been watching him, I've been following him for probably 10 years. And the reason I was watching that, because I saw he had a new he's updating a lot of his videos, because the information that we had 10 years ago and what we have now is so different, because we've had more time to do studies on things, and we've had more time for the scientists to figure things out. So I do like doctors that do double back and update their information. And he's been at this for a long time. So he's the one who actually got me understanding how your body works when you do fasting. And I like the way that he explains things and breaks things down to where you can understand it. So, what's up? I love you too. I haven't seen you in a while. Yes, I did, boo. Let's go. Let's go. Thank you. I'm so glad to see you here. Yeah, so also he was talking about the workout thing, right? So if you do work out, I know a lot of people, and I trained clients too, that worked out 4 to 5 days a week. If as long as you're not working the same, blasting that same body part, you're not pushing on the same, but you've given it enough time to recover because you're working on other body parts. A lot of times when you're doing HIIT, I mean, that's just like a big cardio boost, but that means like we're not going to be doing a leg day every single day of that week. We're going to do legs and then arms and then back, and then, shuffle through it. And by the time you get back to the first muscle group, it's had time to recover if you haven't used it. So don't think what he's saying is, oh, you only work out that one time for those muscles and you got to let your whole body rest for the rest of the week. to give it time to recover. No, just move on to another muscle group. Now, if you worked your entire body that day, then yeah, you should probably take 2 days off before you work your entire body again, if that's the way you like to work out. If you hit all your muscle groups, which means you have a lot of time to be in the gym to hit all your muscle groups. But that's kind of a way for people to be able to get into the gym, get a good workout in, and then keep moving, keep it moving forward each day rather than taking that hiatus. People seem to work best when they have a routine to stick to. And especially if you're using that for your mental balance, also, like your outlet, you need something after work each day, or you need something that just like get your mind right, releases that good serotonin, gets you happy in your happy space. Those are the things that you want, a good dopamine release, so you can stay balanced and stay in a good mental health space. So, to do that, going in and doing a good cardio isn't just enough, though. If you really want to work towards your overall health goals and your body, they came up, I have to look up the study before I give you a percentage, but it is a very high percentage of people that avoid osteoporosis and getting a slouched back and all of those things, that the bone breakdown and all the things that come along with aging. You can have a, I don't know if you've ever seen a 100-year-old, 104-year-old, 99-year-old. I've seen them so many times in the YMCA when I used to train there, and I cannot tell you how many of them are in there working their muscles. And at the time, I didn't think much about it, but the more I learned through my training, the more I learned about what keeps your body, your metabolism, your muscles, your joints, your ligaments, your bones in a healthy space is not cardio, it's exercising your muscles with strength training. So I would see them back there in the freeway area, doing their presses and doing the bench press. I mean, this guy turned 104, like 104. He wasn't using a walker. He wasn't, having a wheelchair push him, like people push him around. He was in there doing his, 9 to 10 pound curl. Who cares? He's still keeping that muscle active. I mean, and of course, the camaraderie around the gym, if you are someone who goes to the gym to get your workout in, is always, it's like a team. We pump each other up. So that is the only benefit. But if you're able to you can get a great workout at home. I'm always posting up at home workouts. I'm constantly on that at home workout tip, because a lot of people are overwhelmed when they go into the gym. They don't know what to do, so it's intimidating. So, but you can get a great workout from home. There's so many great exercise equipment, things that you can have at home that are, or none. I mean, I do workouts most of the time without any. So happy for I know you wanted this for a while now. Oh, perseverance is key. It's so true. Aw. Thanks for being there. Hey, you were an OG back when I started this, so it hasn't been that long, but this is what I've been wanting. You're right. I am gonna keep up with the other stuff. I love you too. I am gonna keep up with the other. I'm gonna start doing my workouts and posting my workouts and stuff too. But I just been working on my skincare line. I came up with some skincare products. It's on my website, karachristiansen.com. I just dropped those for the holidays, and I'm gonna start doing some more online sessions. So I've kind of been working on my schedule on the other end of things, but I also been trying to spend the time healing my ankle, but also trying to put weight on. I can't believe how hard when I didn't want to gain weight, I seemed like I could gain weight easily. But when I was trying to actively put on weight, it was like I was stuck. I wasn't able to do it the way that I wanted to. So that was very frustrating. But it also reminded me of how it felt to be in that space where you're just constantly putting crap in your body. And I don't like it. Like just like the swelling and the eyes and the belly and just like everything is like all of it, everything. Just the way you feel sluggish, the way no energy, just clouded, like my brain, I couldn't get like to focus. And I was trying to do so much stuff. Yeah, what have you been doing? It's a busy time. The end of the year, I always feel like gets busy. It gets so busy. Um, holidays, and I don't know about you guys and families, but that's when a lot of our birthdays in our families are happening. So it seems like a lot's always going on, and then the kids and their schooling stuff. It's like one thing after the next. It's so many things going on. I still got a bunch of school age children, so they always that's why I try and keep everything that I'm doing in the school time, time that they're in school, so I can get everything done with full focus and not have a bunch of kids, like, running around behind me. Like, "Can you help me with this? Can you help me open this?" But, I am gonna play this melatonin. I don't know if any of you take melatonin at night to go to sleep. I try to do everything all natural, and sometimes I just can't unwind my mind. So I have been taking melatonin to go to sleep. And so, yeah, there's a new study out on melatonin, and I'm not quite sure how this is related to the cellulite, but Dr. Berg, the doctor that I follow, who is so good about breaking everything down, he has a video on it being directly related to cellulite. So we're going to dive in and see what that is all about. But I am an advocate
Melatonin and all the benefits that
for
potentially.
not
So today we're going to talk about
prescriptions. You guys know that. Over the counter prescriptions, any kind of prescriptions. I'm all about trying to learn how to let your body self heal itself. Obviously, there are situations that aren't going to allow
melatonin and all the
that. But
benefits that potentially can occur that go beyond just the sleep
okay, so this is the
benefits.
melatonin.
Now, I'm not
Anybody that
recommending
takes
taking
melatonin.
melatonin as a supplement unless you are treating a very specific thing. For example, there's some great data that shows that high levels of melatonin can improve dementia or Alzheimer's. And I'll put a link down below for that video if you haven't seen it already.
Well, maybe I
But
need to
for the
pump my
general public, I
melatonin
don't
up.
recommend taking melatonin. Why? Because your body can make its own. Now, it is true that as you age, it makes less and less and less, but there are things that you can do right now to improve it. But for this
Okay.
video, let's just talk about the benefits that go beyond the sleep cycles. Okay? Number one,
So
melatonin is a
melatonin
very potent
can
antioxidant.
help
In fact,
aid
it's
in
twice as strong as
dementia.
vitamin E, and it has the potential to increase other antioxidants like glutathione, especially in your mitochondria. So this just backs up the benefits of getting enough sleep, because if you're not getting enough sleep, you're definitely not getting enough melatonin. Well, I probably could have entitled this video
Hmm.
Benefits of Getting Enough Sleep.
I feel like I
Okay, number
can't go to
two,
sleep without
immune system
taking
support.
melatonin, though.
Melatonin highly influences your immune system. So the less melatonin, the less resistance you have against pathogens and the more problems you have. Melatonin is a powerful
Interesting.
anti-inflammatory. So the less melatonin, the less sleep you have, the more inflammation you're going to have. Also,
Cool.
melatonin can help reduce headaches. It has anti-cancer properties. It has neuroprotective properties. It helps with memory and preventing dementia. There's some great data. I just released a video on it, and I'm going to put a link down below, that reveals that if you actually take
Aw,
higher
thanks,
levels of
Joe.
melatonin,
Thank
it
you.
can
I
decrease
appreciate you saying
LH,
that.
luteinizing hormone,
My
that is
whole
connected to Alzheimer's. You can check
I
out
keep
that video
fading
down
in
below.
and
It's
out
very,
on
very
you.
interesting. All right, number
I
8,
don't know why it's
it can
doing that.
help you decrease GERD. That is a situation where you have acid that's coming up through into the esophagus from the
Oh,
stomach. Number 9, melatonin helps reduce
oh, GERD
anxiety.
is
I
when you
mean,
have,
this
like,
makes
acid
sense because
reflux.
people that don't sleep, they become anxious.
Mhm.
They worry. Number 10, decrease depression. Same thing. If you're not sleeping, you're going to be tired, you're going to be
So how do
depressed.
you produce more
Number
like
11,
melatonin in your
improving
body
blood sugars. We
afterward?
know that if you
Let's
don't
do it.
sleep, your blood sugars are going to definitely be off. One thing you need to know is that as you age, your melatonin
This is how I
drops
am in
down.
school.
So what can you do to bring it back
Like,
up?
blah, 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 okay,
Well,
okay,
what
let's get
stimulates
to the
melatonin?
point.
Darkness. So make sure that in your bedroom, at least an hour before you're going to sleep, you turn some of the lights off if you're watching TV. Don't have a lot of the lights around you because it's going to
Whoopsies.
confuse the body. Darkness stimulates melatonin. The sun during the day will
Okay.
inhibit the melatonin production of the
So
pineal
don't be on
gland
your phone
and
at
night
night laying in
help melatonin
bed trying to do
recharge.
emails.
So If you're inside all day and you have fluorescent lights and you're sitting behind your computer, a lot of blue light, that can prevent your pineal cells from recharging melatonin. So we want sun during the day, sun exposure, good amount of
Okay.
vitamin D, and then we
Hang
want
out
dark
outside during your
at
lunch
night
break.
with less blue light. There's a great app that you can get that will filter out blue light.
Okay.
I'll put a link down below as well. You want to avoid eating right before bed, okay, because that can actually mess up your sleep and inhibit
That's so
melatonin
true,
production.
though. People who late night
Glucose
snack,
will
if you cut
also
that
inhibit
out,
melatonin production. So
you are
a high
doing my
carb diet
15
is
days.
not good. We want a low carb diet. I think that's called
You sleep better.
keto. Okay, decrease the amount of TV right before bed. Sometimes people are watching a lot of TV and maybe the wrong types of shows that rev up the adrenaline, and then they can't sleep at night. So maybe a small amount
Don't
of TV
watch a
before you go to
zombie
bed, but
show
something that
before
doesn't
bed.
keep you up at night. There are also foods that you can eat that have melatonin in those foods. Mushrooms have a good supply of melatonin.
Interesting.
Eggs do have melatonin. Fish and nuts. So these foods can help increase melatonin as
I
well.
like
And on
mushrooms.
that note, I'll see
Anybody
you
else
in the
like
next video
mushrooms?
Hey, we're back.
with another amazing recipe.
No grains, no sugar, totally keto. There's no suffering in keto.
Absolutely not,
Oh
Karen.
my
And
god.
it's an immune system
delicious.
builder.
Absolutely. You have to check this
I
out.
think you should hurry up, watch the recipe, and make it yourself. It's just so easy to be keto.
But it's
It really is so easy to be keto. Like, it's so true. It's so, so true. Because when you're keto, you can keep a lot of the stuff that you already have in your diet. You're just taking out or substituting like uh breads. But I saw them with the chips. If you take I have to put it up too on some oh my gosh, what's the parchment paper? And you line it in a pan. You set it to 375 and you just take some like shredded whatever the cheese that you like. That's assuming that you don't carry a lot of estrogen, that you're not producing a lot of estrogen already. And the way that you can know that is if you have a little a flat if your belly hangs. If you don't have a tight like just full of fatty tissue belly, if you have a just like a at the very bottom, what some ladies call it the fupa, if you have that little hanging, you probably have an excess of estrogen. So you definitely don't want to eat too much dairy and cheesy products, but that is a big part of keto. So but if you take the cheese, actually they even have some like plant-based cheese. It doesn't really hit the same, but yeah, you can do it like that. So 375, you take the baking sheet or your baking sheet and you line it with parchment paper, which is like a white kind of thin papery looking paper. You line it with parchment paper, and then you put little dollops of the piles of the shredded cheese around on it and put it into the oven and let it bake for like 15 minutes. Get it out and let it cool. Then you have like little crisps. They're little chips, if you will, but they're healthy. You can buy them in the store like that already, but they are kind of expensive for a little tiny bag. Like it's a very little tiny bag, but you can make them yourself with with just cheese and popping it in the oven at 375 on the parchment paper on a baking. It's so tasty. And it's easy, it's good to take with you like if you want a salty snack, in your day, and that's something so healthy because there's no carbs related. So if you're not having the carbs and the sugar, then you're not spiking your insulin, and when you're not spiking your insulin, you're not producing the fat or keeping your fat that you already have stubborn and staying there. So and especially if you're trying to lose weight, if you're on any kind of program right now, or you're following along with my 15-day program that I have right now, then you would definitely want to have these types of like start moving into the realm of finding these types of snacks, these types of things that you're going to eat and start substituting out some of the things that you don't. Even though I'm not really talking about too much of your food right now, other than taking away the sweets, but and sugar, sweets, sugar, any kind of like sauces or stuff you use for eating with a bunch of sugar in it. There's so many options out there now that are less. And yes, it might be $1 more expensive, but in the long run, it's going to be so much healthier for you. You're investing in the future of your body and the future of your health. So that's how you have to kind of look at that. And you shouldn't be using that much sauce anyway if you're really trying to get focused on pulling your act together. But the keto stuff is so good. It's so good for you. There's so many cool recipes. There's so many stuff. I'm going to start posting more videos. I mean, most of the stuff I post is keto because that's what I do. But the keto is, and it's tasty. It's not like you're going to some kind of weird diet that doesn't, have anything tasting good. Like that's how I feel. No offense. I'm so sorry for all the vegans out there. I love vegetables too, and there's great stuff, but there's just hardly any substitution. I don't care what kind of like what a burger fake burger kind of thing you have. What's that burger that they put out that's like not meat all it's like a I don't can't remember what it's called right now. But anybody know what I'm talking about? I forget where even they had. It was in one of the fast food places. They put out a burger that doesn't have any it's a burger but it was supposed to be made with all plants. I don't know, it was awful. But if you're a vegan, you probably love that kind of stuff. But there is just no substitute. There literally is no substitute for what you get out of the meat too. The nutrients, the protein, the iron, there's no supplements that you can even take for that. It's not as you will never get it the same. So that's why a lot of people that do follow a strict vegan diet are most of the time anemic. So I haven't run across anybody that hasn't suffered from anemia from that, but that's because of the type of protein you're really missing out on from getting it from animal meat. What about coffee? Oh, yeah, I mean, well, that's like depends because if you're just having your like how I have my coffee, either use stevia or monk fruit, and I don't put any creamer in it. So some people, if you want to have creamer, they do have some, you have to look on the back. If it says cream and cane sugar, then yeah, that's good. Or regular half and half. But not some of those creamers, if you turn the bottle around and you see like 14, 15 different types of ingredients in it, just it's not worth it because now you're spiking your insulin so high. So monk fruit and stevia, your body doesn't respond the same as it does to those other types of processed sugars. So that's what they put in a lot of that and dyes in a lot of those creamers, like those yummy flavor looking creamers. But there is a brand that they have. It's all natural brand. I forgot what it's called. Let me see if I can look that up. It's actually really good. It's very tasty. They don't have a whole lot of flavors because they use all natural stuff, and it's not any like maybe like 60 cents more to get it that way than the other. But yeah, coffee is good. If you're doing your fasting, do not put I mean, if you have to put creamer to have your coffee to start your day because that's what gives you your energy, then do that. But if you can, try and learn to have your coffee with like a monk fruit or a stevia and no creamer because then the creamer takes away all the benefits of the coffee. So you want to have those antioxidants in the coffee, and when you put the cream in it, it affects it. It affects the way that it affects your body. So if you can avoid that, then you want to do that. But let me see what the name of this creamer is. I forget what it's all natural creamer, and it's not. I don't know if they have it in all the places. This is our local grocery store. That's what it's called. Bliss, Natural Bliss creamer. It's so good. It's made by Coffee Mate. Coffee Mate also makes the brands that have all the crap in it. So Natural Bliss, cup to just black coffee. Oh, what do you normally put in it? I mean, stevia and monk fruit, they have it right next to all the other sugars in the grocery store. So it's not that difficult to find, and they usually have some type of sale on it. So I usually just get it when it's on sale, and I get it in the big bags because it's less that way. But yeah, Natural Bliss, that's the creamer. Natural Bliss, if you were to put a creamer, and you just want to look at the back, whatever your grocery has, you want to look at the back and see that it says whole milk or some type of actual milk, and or I know some people drink oat milk or soy milk. Just want to be careful with the soy. If you have a lot of estrogen in your body and you drink a lot of soy, or you eat soybeans, or you're on some type of soy and you have a little pooch and you just can't get rid of it no matter what, it's because you have so much estrogen in your body. We talked about that yesterday. But oh, I also did forget to tell you guys, black coffee, I could do black coffee if it's good coffee beans, but if it's not, if it's like a fresh ground coffee, I can go black. I could go black. But it's if yeah, it's so bitter. I do like the light roast black coffee. Like I'll do that. That's I can get down with that. There is a quiz. I forgot to give you guys that quiz for your body type. I forgot to post that up. Let me see if I can get that up here. Quiz for your body type. I sent this to some test for finding your body type. Yeah, that's it. 3 types of body type. I think you could find that on body type quiz. Here you go. Everyday health. Let me see. Let me see if I'm able to share. So the ectomorph, the mesomorph, and the endomorph. Why did I think there were 4? Maybe I just made up another morph. I'm trying to morph into another morph. Um, so yeah, mild Folgers, or Folgers, as some people call it. Hey, nothing wrong with that. Look, if you gotta have your fuel, then you gotta have your fuel. But if you're going, in my humble opinion, if you're going to invest your time into making a change, I feel like you should go all in and make the change. Let the change happen, and then you can slowly introduce that stuff back in. But a lot of times, I mean, I would love creamers, like all the like flavor creamers with sugar, like all the yummy stuff. But when I realized what it was doing, like not aiding me in my progress, then I just cut back and I just kind of never went back. I mean, sometimes I'll have it, the cream, but then I really want the benefits. If I'm going to drink coffee and I know that the caffeine is just stripping my body down anyway, I like to have some of the benefits, which it does have many benefits in it. So I just feel like, you know, putting the creamer in sometimes. I will splurge on that, like on a Sunday or something. I know it sounds silly that you're splurging on creamer, but it's true. I mean, it's a thing. So let me give you what this is. This is on everyday health. Okay, I'm gonna post this up so you guys can see. I'm not sure if I can do that on here. No, I don't know how to do it, like type in the chat. I'll post it up. I'll post it up so you can learn what your body type is. But when you learn what your body type is, um, what's up, sis? Woo woo, that's my sister in the house. Guys, want to hear some amazing music? That girl right there, Ashley Britton. Yes, cold brew. I know you're the coffee queen. This is more your question than mine. Cold brew is less acidic, and not a lot of places have that cold brew, but when they do a cold brew, it takes forever. So, that's one of those things you wanna call in if you're gonna get a cold brew. I mean, cold brew, what I learned from a barista, literally takes, like, days, and some of them he does, "I love you, boo." Some of them he says weeks. So, I mean, we went to a new coffee house, me meeting up with some of the moms, and I was like, "Oh, they have a cold brew? I'm gonna do a cold brew for sure," because it's a treat to get a cold brew, and what in the heck? It was like 45 minutes later, And then everybody was like, some of the ladies were starting to leave. I'm like, I'm feel stuck. I'm waiting for this cold brew, but it was well worth it in the end. Sometimes you got to wait for those good things. Also, there's a new oat creamer that's absolutely delicious and not dairy. Okay. I tried a couple of those oat creamers. Yeah, it's to each his own, right? To each his own. You have to say there's mixed reviews on the oat creamer though. I mean I know it is a good break from soy for people that do carry extra estrogen in their body and they need to cut back on foods that produce that estrogen. So almond milk is a nice option, but at least there is another option like the oat. But for people that aren't high in their estrogen and they're just switching over to oat because they think it's healthier, I would do some research on that before you dive all in. But they do make the almond milk and the almonds creamer with added protein in there now. So I think that that is actually very beneficial. We all need extra protein. People don't eat enough protein. It's just true. And you need protein for your strong muscles and to stop your body from deteriorating on the inside. You just need protein. And I love it when companies decide, you know what? We're going to go the extra mile. We're going to put some extra good stuff in there for you. And we're not going to up the price. We're just going to do it because we care about you. We need more companies like that. Aw, thank you, Ash. Mwah. Sent that with a big old kiss. Thank you so much. I miss you big. Miss you big. All the way in Florida, you guys. Florida to North Carolina. It's a long way. What is the machine you're gonna build? You're gonna build not the time travel. Although I could use a time travel machine. There was a lot of things. You guys ever see Back to the Future? And they're like, oh, take this so you know what to bet on. I mean, if you could only tell your younger self some things, mine would be, wear that sunscreen like your mom keeps telling you to do. Put that sunscreen on because, darn it, it is well worth it in the future. I know you kids think in the moment, like, oh, I'll deal with that later when I get older or whatever, whatever. No, you should deal with it now so you don't have to deal with it later. Wisdom. Wisdom. That's what comes with age. Wisdom. So if I could have a time machine and I could go back, I would definitely tell myself to put the freaking sunscreen on. And then you won't have to worry about all the things with, sunspots and is that cancerous or not? Or, oh no, where is that? What's that freckle? Where did that come from? It's not fun. Put the sunscreen on. Oh, yeah? I don't know about that. Everybody thinks I'm younger, but I'm actually not. Now just get to the point. Thank you, honey. Preach, preach. I just get to the point where I'm just like, I'm nearing 60, so I'm just diving all in. I'm just gonna dive full in to the deep end, right on in there, getting all in there. And then I'll just let the time catch up to me, But seriously, if you could reverse something, if there's one thing, if you had a time machine and there's one thing that you could go back and tell yourself to do, your younger self, this is detrimental, you have to do it, what would you be telling yourself? What would it be? I mean, for me, I know sunscreen's a big deal. I got a little like a freckle thing on my nose, and I remembered, right? Burning the crap out of my face. Growing up on the beach, constantly frying my skin. But you put stuff on to fry your skin because you get a nice, dark, deep tan. Now I'm all about, oh, of course, I'll get, like, over the summer, I will get darker. I do have Cherokee Indian blood. I do get dark. But I use sunscreen now. You can get dark with sunscreen. It's amazing. It's an amazing thing. It's an amazing discovery. But you probably could have done that back in the day, and nobody's just going to be listening to all that. When you're a kid, you don't listen to anything. Teenagers just don't listen. But I would definitely say do it, because the sun, what it does to your body over time with all the sunburns is not good. How it treats your body. I've had to do so many like peels and all these like things to get my stimulation going back in your skin tissue, all the damage that happens, not the top layer, but several layers below, and then it takes years and years and years before it even comes out. Anybody that's gone to the dermatologist and used to get a lot of sun or fry themselves in the sun as a kid knows what I'm talking about. And it's not fun. And I could have prevented it all. I see those people that have like beautiful, like milky skin, like that without, I mean, I have freckles. So you can't tell probably through what you're looking in your lens, but you have to do a close up on it. And I've done so many peels and treatments over the years to get all the skin damage off. But when I see people that are young, I'm like, please protect your skin. Just do it, because it's, in the long run, it's going to matter. So I know, Ash, with your like skin tone, but yeah, if there was something you could tell yourself, what would it be? If you could go back, if you could go back in time. The melatonin thing was very interesting. I did not know that about melatonin. I take melatonin because I don't like to take any other like prescription over the counter thing, and I'm always about that all natural life. But he says if you get more sleep, your body produces melatonin on its own. But if you can't go to sleep to get more sleep, and no matter what, my kids are going to get up in the wee hours of the morning. So it doesn't matter what time I'm going to bed, that 6 o'clock time frame is still coming around very fast. So, I take the melatonin, and it's to me, I thought it was more natural. And to know that melatonin is something that it holds back dementia and Alzheimer's, that's great to know. Like, but your body, that's coming from your body. I don't know if that means that's something that you shouldn't take. You should let your body produce that. I don't know. It seems like your body only produces that when you're sleeping. But to get the sleep, you have to take the melatonin. So I don't know what to do. We still young forever. That's right. It really is your mentality. Like my son who's in college, you would think that he's like an older gent, but he just always had that old soul. And me, I'm like stuck at 16 or 18, possibly 23. Depends on the day. But, it's my mentality. It doesn't mean that I am not smarter than a 16-year-old. It just means that my childlike spirit, and I don't ever want to give that part up, because I feel like as soon as you give up that part of who you are, I feel like it's all over after that. I feel like you age quickly if you give up your childlike spirit. You have to keep that person around, because if you don't keep that side of you, then you stop learning to look through the world through those lenses, and then it's super scary. Super scary out there. I want to be able to see the fun side and the happy side and the positive side of the world, and for that, I feel like you have to keep your childlike spirit intact, so you can learn to enjoy things and live life to the fullest. And yes, kids do allow for that more. Having kids, having that, or just being around kids in general, you get to act like a kid, and it's fine. It keeps your spirit together and intact. And I love that part about being around children. It's like, yeah, I hover around 18. Thank you. Thanks. I'd like to say so. My driving might be more like when I was 16, which is not a compliment. It's not a compliment. But when I have the kids in the car, I drive like Miss Daisy. So, I keep it nice and pristine. Have to when I have precious cargo on board. Have to do that. That's for sure. Okay, so I wanted to look up what this rebound stuff. You guys, Dr. Berg, if you have any medical questions about your body and its health, and you just want to get the understanding of what's going on in there, and also have somebody tell you that isn't going to try and push a clinical drug on you, or get you to take some type of prescription to fix or heal the thing. You would love someone who can just help you learn what's going on and have a holistic, even though he's a doctor, he wants you to learn how your body operates and how you can try and heal it yourself with these foods or not having foods at all with the fasting. So, Dr. Berg is his name, and he is fantastic. And that's who we've been listening to. I know we talked a lot about cellulite today. Ash, right? Come on, grandma, mom. We got handed it down, honey. We got handed it down. But if you catch the beginning of this podcast, you can learn about the cellulite and how to get that back in check. So let me go back over here because we are going to move on to the fasting. And this is a big deal because right now we are doing the 15-day kickstart. And that kickstart is what we are. Let me do this. The kickstart is what gets you started to the path of where we're going to head, which is doing the fasting. The fasting is where the true that's where the good stuff is. That's where the gold happens. That's where you dig out the gems. Here, let me do this. And Dr. Berg and best. This is who I learned from to start with because he is so good about breaking it all down on fasting. I'll do it from beginners because we are just starting out with the 15 days. Today is day 3. Why should you fast? Let me put it like that. Let me do it like that. Okay. Truth about fasting. Let me find his most recent one because he's constantly updating. Okay. And here he's talking about why fasting is more important than diet. Most important intermittent fasting basics for beginners. Must watch. Okay.
Boy,
Here we go. Let me get you back over. This is my guy. This is my go-to dude. Love fasting and the feeling. Right? I'm saying there really is nothing like it. And okay, especially my clients, and I talked about some of this yesterday, but my clients that had a fear of, you're used to eating 3 meals a day. You're told for so long, like at the beginning of this podcast, I put this little funny thing called from Funny or Die. They had a little skit about healthy foods and like over time, back in the 70s, they're like, don't eat those eggs, they're bad for you. And then jumps a little ahead of time and like, wait, you can eat the eggs, just don't eat the yolk. And then they like back it up a little bit, go through more time, like, wait a second, studies were wrong. You can eat the eggs with the yolk. You should actually eat the egg. You just eat the whole egg. So it's really funny because that is how it works. That's how the industry works, right? Like the longer we go, the more we have time to study things, the more we figure things out. They're like, oh, all those things I told you should take out, go ahead and put those back in because they're actually really good for you because now we've got, 15 years of studies in and now we realized we were wrong. So I put that little funny thing at the beginning, but that's what I like about Dr. Berg. He goes back and he actually learns the new studies and adjusts in real time. So, this is a big deal. So he's the one I learned fasting from the jump. So now he has new videos out about fasting. And you guys know I don't like to use that word diet because diet I feel like is a fad. And when you look at fasting, you have to look at or keto or whatever, you have to look at it as a whole lifestyle change because you don't want to go back to the space you're in. You're trying to move into a new era, new realm, level up, trying to level up. Here we go.
viewpoint on intermittent fasting has gone from all the way over here to all the way over here. At one time, when someone mentioned fasting, I'm like, what is that going to do? Fasting? It's not going to help you. And then when I started looking in.
Oh, wait, let me say, okay. That's what I kind of got off on a tangent. That's what I was saying. I would tell my clients, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to cut out your window or shrink your window of eating. And then we're going to cut you down to like, no days of eating or 1 meal a day. And I learned from that not to do that because when you're doing that, that's people that are constantly eating breakfast and lunch and dinner and then snacks in between, when you tell them that, it's so shocking of news. Like, I learned from that. I'm a work in progress too. But that's when I came up with the 15-day plan. Like what we're on right now, we're in day 3. It is tried and true. It works. It is fantastic, and the way you will feel. I said, even if 15 days sounds crazy, even if you've spent which to me, in your mind, in my humble opinion, in my mind, I think 15 days is nothing compared to every single day the damage you do to your body, right? Putting all junk in there. So, but if you can commit to 5 days, let that 5 days show you something, but fully commit to those 5 days, to the guideline that I post, the guideline that I give you. Fully commit to those 5 days, and I promise you that after that 5th day, you will be inspired to want to keep going on. You're going to want to be inspired, especially if you check out some of my videos. You don't even have to check out my videos. You can go on to any ketogenic meal plans. They're fast. Some of them are fast and easy, and they're delicious. Now, again, if you have super high cholesterol, I would take some of the bacon out or some of like the high sodium meats. But if you have, because it's very cheese driven too, which I love, you don't have to take cheese out of a freaking, there's everybody's, all these diets. So that's why I don't like to use that word, fad. But you have to change your lifestyle. But the cheese, if you have high estrogen, if you have a belly you work out, you're pretty good shape, but you just can't get rid of that belly, you probably have high estrogen. Like people call it a fupa. Ever heard it called a fupa? If you have that, you probably are carrying a lot of extra estrogen. So you don't want to take more things like dairy into your diet because you're just producing more estrogen and it's going to be really hard. You're working against the grain to get rid of that gut. But remember, I'm going to put in the comments later the test for finding out your body type. Finding out your body type. That is so important also to learning how to best cater to your needs. But this 15 days for all body types. It's for everything. It is a reboot. It is a reboot. You're going to reboot your gut. You're going to reboot your metabolism, whether you have a gallbladder or not, whether you have thyroid or not, whether you have thyroid issues. You are going to reboot and reset with these 15 days. I'm telling you right now, you're going to do it. If you could do it, you're going to see it, and I won't even need to talk it. As soon as you see it, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna understand where I'm coming from. Okay, here we go.
Into it. I'm
Okay, let me.
all the way over here to all the way over here. At one time, when someone mentioned fasting, I'm like, what is that going to do? Fasting? It's not going to help you.
Right.
And then when I started looking into it, I'm like, wow, fasting is the most important thing you can do for your health out of all the things. And I want to talk about why that is. I mean, if you look at fasting from a scale of what can a person do to create more health, it's right at the top of the list. It's more important than what you eat.
Right.
It's more
I love you
important than
too. Yeah, I
exercise.
remember us
I mean,
talking
when you
about
think about the
that.
survival mechanism in our bodies, right? We have developed some serious biochemistry relating to preventing dying from starvation, preventing being frozen to death, also preventing being eaten by lions by running away. So we have this fasting, we have cold therapy, we have exercise that tends to mimic how our bodies develop these survival mechanisms. So when you do fasting, you directly trigger all these amazing survival genes. And this involves pretty much every part of your body. Every part of your body starts to improve. I mean, if you compare the environment that we used to be in, which is not frequent eating, to the environment now, which is grazing all day long, you can see the problem. I mean, today is the day after Christmas, okay? Now, yesterday, there was food available all day long. And it wasn't unhealthy food, but it was just a lot of food. And I grazed pretty much all day long. And I can tell you, I don't feel very good. I don't feel good when I eat in a constant way. So when you start fasting, the first thing you do is you give up your snacks. And then the second thing you do is you tend to let that breakfast go away. You go as long as you can until you can get to that first meal, which is roughly maybe at lunchtime. And then you wait until dinner, and then you eat, and then you don't snack. And yes, you can have coffee, you can have tea, you can drink liquids. Just make sure it's not like juice or sodas or anything sweet or anything of any calories. Now, typically everyone fasts when they're sleeping, right? Why would you want to mess up the whole fasting by eating breakfast. Many people are not hungry in the morning unless they eat a little something, and then they'll be hungry an hour and a half. So eating does cause you to be hungry. But if you don't give in to that and you
It's
start
so
fasting,
strange to think
you
of.
start to repair your pancreas. The pancreas has taken a beating from all this frequent eating, all the carbohydrates. So the little cells that regulate insulin,
Probably
called the
why
beta
pancreatic
cells,
cancer
are really
is
the
on
cell that gets
fire right
hammered the
now.
most when we eat a lot of carbs and we eat very frequently. And so it's pumping out all this insulin all the time. And rarely does anyone actually test the insulin. They look at the blood sugar. And basically 10 to 20, 30 years, your blood sugar could be normal, but in the background, you have this massive insulin spike. Okay, but you don't really test that.
Why
Over
don't we test
time,
that?
your
That's
body
so
starts
strange.
developing something called insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is a situation where the receptors are going to protect you against this excess amount of insulin and carbohydrate. It's a protective survival mechanism. So even though you're eating a lot of carbs, everything looks normal unless you check this insulin situation. And then over time, when this pancreas gets exhausted, it can no longer compensate. So your insulin production starts going down. And insulin keeps the blood sugar lower, so now we don't have that control. So now the blood sugar has no choice but to start going up. So we start getting
Yeah.
prediabetes and then diabetes, which is a high level of sugar in the blood because we now have so much insulin resistance and your beta cells in the pancreas are so tired they just can't work anymore. Well, guess what? Fasting
feel like a
starts to
beta
repair
cell.
and protect the beta cell. The beta cell starts to
Protect
heal
beta
and
cell.
insulin starts to become more sensitive. So you have less insulin resistance, which is going to help everything. So because you're not eating so darn frequently, your digestive system finally has a chance to relax in between eating. I mean, most people are eating so frequently. Just think about how much work that digestive system has to work.
Right.
But when you do intermittent fasting, finally the system has a chance to not work so hard. You will also have an antidepressant effect. Your mood is going to be elevated. So roughly I'm talking
So
about a
true.
pattern of eating that is an 18-hour window of fasting. So the first meal might be at 12. The second meal might be at 6. There's also a large
That's what
amount of
we're
people
working
who also
with.
go to one meal a day. Now, this is not necessarily just to focus on reducing calories, but it is very difficult to consume the same calories from 3 meals to 1 meal. What you're actually doing too is you're not slowing your metabolism, you are correcting a slowed metabolism, which really at the heart of that is insulin resistance. Okay, so now that you're at 1 meal a day, what's
Oh
going to happen
man,
next
that's
is
my
your
jam.
inflammation is going to go way down. All of these inflammatory conditions start to be improved. Your body actually makes antioxidants. It's called endogenous from within production of antioxidants. So when you fast, your body starts making more
So true.
antioxidants
You
to
can
help
feel
counter
your
the
body
oxidative stress. You see, if you think about oxidative stress, all the things that, from radiation to pollution, junk foods, it all produces a lot of free radical damage. Well, if you have enough antioxidants, you can counter that. And the microbes in your digestion, which has a huge influence over your immune system, start to thrive and you get more microbes. So your microbes do better when you don't feed them so often. And having this diversified microbiome, you get all sorts of improvements, definitely in the cognitive function. There's something called brain-derived neurotrophic factor. That would be like miracle grow for your brain. Now, and then a lot of people add prolonged fasting, okay, here and there. And that produces even bigger benefits. In prolonged fasting, like let's say you fast for 2 days, you're going to strengthen autophagy. Autophagy is the recycling of old
Autophagy is
damaged
that
proteins,
anti-aging
viruses,
element, you guys.
pathogens in your cell. Your body cleans those up and recycles them into healthy tissue, which is pretty wild. And even in the guts of your cells, you have these mitochondria, which is the key for
This is
energy
the cell
production,
within the
for
cell.
so many things that are related to disease. You can actually start to repair and clean out the damaged mitochondria, which also can trigger cancer, and getting rid of those and build new mitochondria. So the term for that is called mitochondrial biogenesis. And then some people fast longer for like 72 hours. And when you start doing that, you
sweet
really
spot
start
right
to
there.
strengthen this stimulation of stem cells, especially for your immune system. So a lot of people do prolonged fasting to get rid of cancer. In fact, it is one of the best things you can do. So in this video, I just wanted to touch on the real reason why you should be doing fasting and the amazing benefits. There's a lot of details on how to do it. For that information, you should watch this video right here.
How to do intermittent fasting. That's what we're on right now. That's the thing we started doing was the 15th.
I'm going to share several critical things about prolonged fasting that you need to know.
Yeah, we aren't into that part yet because right now we just started that 15-day program, Kickstart program. And the reason I put it as a Kickstart is because for every client that I've had this on, it has helped them wean them off of all of this stuff. If you're used to eating breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, more snacks, nighttime snacks, it's a lot to process. Well, so many ways. It's a lot to process for your body, but it's a lot for your brain to process that I'm about to cut that in half. So I started the 15-day kickstart because I realized so many of my clients had one common thread, and that was the amount of time they were eating, how much they were eating, and the shock effect of when I was saying, I'm gonna cut all that eating in half and then even go down to maybe one meal a day was too shocking. So this 15-day program that I have come up with has been something that has been set and solid no matter what body type, no matter what ailments or physical situation that they were in. They all uniformly were able to come to this 15-day program and get their kickstart. After this 15 days, your body's already responding differently. You've already lost weight. You've already probably lost some of your water weight that you're carrying around. You probably cleansed your colon out. All of those things. You're already starting to feel better. If you can push past the crave, if you can control your brain. And the reason you control your brain, you say, no, I do not need that little stack of Oreos right there, or that mini cupcake somebody brought in, or this somebody brought donuts in today. Nope, not today, because today I'm giving to myself because I deserve that. My body deserves that. My mental deserves that. And you're going to be proud of yourself for it. If you start something like this, like a 15-day challenge, and you end up not going with it, you end up feeling you break and you have the thing you're not supposed to. It puts you back. It sets you so far back because now you just disappointed yourself. Now you said, I'm going to commit to this and do it, and then you don't. So, but even if you do that, okay, even if that is happening to you, that's okay. Start back over. Just start from the jump. Don't jump in at the deep end again. Just start from the jump and let's do it. If you are someone who is just more like balls to the wall, you need to go full in strict, then you can just jump right back in where you were. But chances are if you broke and you started eating the things that I've already taken away and by this stage in the process, it's not going to be great. I didn't take carbs away. I only took fried foods and sugars like Debbie treats or cupcakes or like all the, you know what I'm talking about. The sweets that aren't good for you. That's what I took away. That and the fried foods. And then I just shrunk the window. Today's day 3, so we're in an 8-hour window. So we're going to keep going down in that window all the way to Thanksgiving. And Thanksgiving, we're going to have, the ability to get a little cheat, get a little something that you haven't had because you're rewarding yourself from it. But if you can look down and you can see that your body has plenty to feed on, this is where the mind control comes in. This is where I love you too. What? Get out of here with all that. Today? Oh, today? How long were you fasting for? With a cup of coffee? Nice. Okay. Well, at least you did your fast though. Although you should not be breaking your fast with a donut, but at least you fasted. I'm sure your system was like, what? You put all that sugar in there again. But if you can look down at your body and you see you have weight to lose, uh, you're sticking to it. I told myself, you got to be a person of your word, and that includes to your own self. You have to love yourself enough to want to do it for yourself. And I promise you, the way you will feel, not only just because, okay, now you're losing some weight, now you're seeing the scale move, which probably hasn't done in a while. Now you're starting to see the change around your face. You're not as swollen. You're not inflamed as much because this gets it all back in check. Your rings are fitting a little bit different because your fingers aren't as swollen. Your shoes fit a little different because your feet aren't swollen. All your ailments in your joints, your knees and your elbows and all your joints, your hips, your back, your neck, all of those things start to subside because now you're working on that inflammation and bringing that inflammation down. All of these things, you start to feel better, you start to think clearer. Then you probably start getting some praise from the people around you who are taking notice. You feel so good about that. And it doesn't involve spending one extra penny, not a penny. All it does is involve you taking your energy and committing it to yourself and saying, I'm not going to put that in my mouth today. If anything, it doesn't cost you anything. It actually will save you money because you're eating less. So it's saving you money, it's saving you hardship. You're gaining so much more than you're losing. Well, wait, hold on. Let me scratch that, reverse it. You know what I'm saying? You're gaining the benefits. You're losing a lot, but you're losing the good stuff. Or you're losing the bad stuff. How would I say that? You're losing the bad stuff that you don't want, and you're gaining all the benefits. There we go. Nailed it. Okay? Losing all the bad stuff and you're gaining all the benefits, and that's where you want to go. Let's see, 2 days. It was only one donut. That's okay. You fasted 2 days. Good for you. I'm working this 15-day train, but I am gonna get that's where I'm headed. I'm sticking to this with all the peeps that are doing it too. We're gonna go in it together. It's great to have people that do things with you because then you have a support group because it is like an addiction. Food is an addiction. That's why our country is got the highest rate of obesity in the entire world. We're addicted to food, and the more that they put, the more fillers, the more fake sugars, the more artificial crap, the more it gives cravings, and the more people crave because they're eating it, and that intensifies the craving, so they crave more. So to reverse all that and get it back in check, it doesn't take years, it doesn't take months, it doesn't even take weeks. You can get that done in days. It's just committing yourself to doing it. And that is the key. That's the key, is breaking your mind. You got to break that habit. You got to break that pattern and get into a new mindset. That's why I say this isn't a diet. Diets are fads and go in and out. You want to change your lifestyle. So you want to change your mindset. You can't change your lifestyle unless you change your mindset. So you got to get your mind right and tell yourself, no, you are. I don't even like when my kids' friends come over and say, oh, I'm so starving. I'm like, no, hold on now. If you're starving, you would be like those third world countries where those kids literally have nothing to eat. You guys are very privileged. You have food. You are not starving. Look down at your body. You see that you are not just skin hanging off your bones. Don't use that word again. They're like, oh, yes, ma'am. So, I mean, because it's true. If you can look down and there's weight to lose, you're not starving. Let your body start using that for fuel. Let your body start using all that stuff you've been storing up for so many years. Let your body be like, you know what? I'm about to run this engine right. We're gonna burn look at all this fuel you got stored up here on your body. Let's do it. Let's use it. And let your body use that for fuel. That's what you want. You don't want to keep putting more and more and more. And then it's just like an endless process. And then all you're doing is creating all these issues inside your body. You want a long life, you want a healthy life, you want to look good, you want to feel good, you want to have good balance, you want to have those good endorphins. You gotta do it. All comes down to food, 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 food. Not about how much you work out, not about all the pills and all the things that you take to get all that stuff in check. Your body can do that for you. I've worked with clients that are on all these medications, and we started doing the 15-day program that I'm doing right now with you guys, and then moving on into a more a suitable fasting schedule and an intermittent fasting lifestyle with keto and all sorts of different versions of paleo, keto, whatever their personal dietary needs are, but off the pills. And they could not even believe it. They haven't been down that size, no shots, no pills, no nothing. They haven't been down that size since maybe like high school or college. Because the proof is in the pudding. You just have to give it a go. You just have to give it a go. And it's maintainable because there are so many foods out there that you can eat. So many people posting up cool recipes, fast recipes, easy recipes, yummy recipes for this lifestyle. So it's not like you don't have all of those things at your fingertips like way back when I was learning about it. It wasn't, it was pretty basic. Now there's like so many people post up so many great recipes, and I'm constantly filming and of me cooking them and trying them myself too. And then I'll tweak up from here and there to like how I like it. But there's so much. It's so telling you right now, you just got to give it a go. Just give it a go. Just 5 days. If you can't do the 15, just try it for 5. I'm telling you, just try it for the 5. Maybe you'll get down your window a little bit. Maybe you'll start to think, all right, at the 5th day, you're like, I got this. I think I could do this. Then let's keep on going. You can do it. So knowledgeable. I'm grateful to have found podcasts. Oh, thank you. You're trying to make me cry on this stream. I love that it does that when I make the heart sign. I love that it throws some hearts out there. I think that's so cute. I think it's so cute. But I'm an advocate for trying to get people to living their best life from the inside out. It really is simple, and it really does save you money when you aren't when you're constantly not shoving food into your mouth. And I cannot stress enough how great you feel if you just give it a try. And then not only that, the level of energy you get back, oh my gosh, like you feel like, okay, yeah, I do feel like taking all these kids to the park today, or I do feel like going out and playing ball, or I do feel like doing these things again. Things that you might have been sitting on the sidelines for a long time because you're just too tired to do it, or maybe you got too much swelling around your ankles or knees, or your hips hurting, or your back. I'm telling you, it all involves food. And if you are with a doctor who isn't telling you, hey, maybe try to incorporate this or take some of this out of your diet, instead of saying, oh, I'm going to write you a prescription for that, don't do it. Don't do it. If you have any sense of wonder or love for living life, don't do it. You can find ways. Follow Dr. Berg on YouTube. I'm going to constantly be showing his stuff on here because he is so amazing and so amazing at breaking it down so you can understand it, like explaining to you what these types of things in your body and how it interacts with certain foods or certain things you do, like how we were on the podcast yesterday learning about your body type. I did not know that there is a type of belly fat for or body type that is the belly fat is based around stress only. Like, I mean, that for me is something that I feel like, okay, a workout releases the good endorphins to help release the serotonin to get your mood and your balance in check. Like, I don't know anybody that's had a bad day or having a bad day and they've done a big workout or a even an intense workout that felt terrible afterwards. Like, there's nobody I've ever met that said, "Oh my gosh, I just got a great workout and I feel like crap." Like, it's just not said. But so many people have said, "Oh my gosh, I feel so much better." Like, they're happier, they're in a better space, a better mood. So that's something. If you learn your body type, which I'm going to put the link into the comments on YouTube after this, I'll put it into the link. Finding out what your body type is, and then you can find out how to tackle what you have going on like fast. Because the people who have like the fupa that I've trained so many clients, that's an estrogen thing. And you might be eating constant stuff that caters to that estrogen. And you're not you don't even know. You don't even realize you're not able to lose that belly fat because you keep putting foods in your body because it's 80% what you put in your mouth and only 20% is your workout. So 80% is a big deal. 80% is a way bigger number than 20%. So learning what your body responds to and what it needs and what it doesn't need more of is very important for sure. So I will put the link. You guys should take the quiz so you can learn a little bit about yourself too. And then you might have some answers to why in the world, okay, I go to the gym, I eat well. Why am I still stuck with this belly? What's going on? So learning your body type is going to help you be able to learn what you're putting in your mouth that's catering to that belly that workouts alone are not going to take care of. You have to stop putting that particular food into your mouth to stop aiding your body with whatever that belly situation is going on. So, learning for your body type is a very very big deal because that's where all the juice is. Now that's the podcast that was on yesterday. So if you guys want to learn more about the belly fat and the body type stuff for those particular concerns, if you have your belly fat concern and you got the belly fat that's either all over or you got the belly fat that's tight like a basketball or you got the hanging belly or you got the little fupa just right above that, the underwear line. Got that little fupa there. That's mainly a female thing. I guess men could have it too, but that's mainly a female thing. But it's definitely something worth watching. It was a long podcast yesterday. It went a little over the 2-hour mark, but it was very informative, and especially for people who have that belly situation going on. You will learn a lot about yourself through that. But the fasting is so good for you guys. So, so good. And I'm going to put him on one last video. One last video. Let me cue it up right here because he is talking about, let me see, benefit of prolonged fasting. Okay, this is where
Fasting is,
we're headed to
I'm going to share
after
several.
this 15-day. The reason it's called a 15-day kickstart is because it's a kickstart. It's the jump start to your new life. It's the jump start to you having a new metabolism, for you having new energy, for you having a new biodome, your gut, everything's reset, for you having new skin, new hair, everything's going to be replenished. Your old cells are going to be recycled and become new cells. You're going to have wounds that you got healing up. That's going to be coming into play. Your body's going to respond so well. And let me just tell you, when you're after we're done with this 15 days, this is where we're headed. And I want him to explain why, because he's so good at it. Here we go.
Several critical things about prolonged fasting that you need to know. Fasting is very simple. Okay, it shouldn't be that hard. Some people overthink it, and those things that are really simple are usually extremely powerful. And that's what fasting is. I mean, it's actually mind-blowing to think that the absence of food, just not eating, can create so many powerful effects. And if you haven't tried it, you should definitely try it. In order to understand the benefits of fasting, you want to compare it to another subject, and usually a subject that would be the opposite, okay? And that would be snacking, okay? If you look at what snacking does to the human body, it is absolutely positively devastating. In fact, I think out of all the things that you can do that create a negative influence on your body, snacking is at the top of the list because of what it does to insulin. It's a chronic increase in elevation of insulin, which then leads to just a million other problems. I mean, when you think about it, I guess I'll just pull this up right here real quick. I don't think you can ever heal the body with eating frequent meals, okay? We have this idea that you have to heal the body with food, right? Like food is nourishing. Actually, it might be nourishing, but to really heal, you're better off not eating. This idea that breakfast is the most important meal is a total lie. And I used to promote it before I learned otherwise. What about promoting like bedtime snacks for kids, right? Or after school snacks, or this advice that you should never miss a meal, right? Which I have no idea who started
All
that. Well,
created by
actually, I do.
doctors.
It's the snack food industry that started that. And for some reason, this snacking food industry just doesn't like me for some reason. I don't know why it is. So if we look at
That's all this
snacking, snacking
funny
actually
guys. He
makes you
really
more
is trying
hungry
to
because you're
control.
eating a small amount of calories and you're stimulating insulin, and that lowers your blood sugar about an hour and a half later. So you're going to stimulate hunger, not stimulate your metabolism. Okay. You're going to stimulate hunger when you snack, and it's going to promote more hunger. Okay. So, and you're never ever going to
True.
fix hypoglycemia by eating these snacks, because it keeps that hypoglycemic low blood sugar thing going on and on and on. In fact, it actually slows your metabolism, or shall I say, slows your ability to lose weight, because you develop insulin resistance, because you have this constant increase of insulin. And also, it's going to promote a need for a nap. Okay, right after you eat, you're going to feel like you need a nap. And you may find that eating does reduce moodiness and grouchiness, but soon after, about an hour later, when your blood sugars are dropped, you're going to revert back to this moodiness. Now, in history, a lot of great thinkers have commented on fasting and had something to say about fasting. Hippocrates said, "To eat when you are sick is to fuel your illness." Fascinating, right? And then we have the ancient Greek philosophers, right? The great thinkers. Pythagoras. Pythagoras required fasting of his students, okay, so they can think more clearly. Plato, Aristotle were advocates of fasting. Ben Franklin said the best of all medicine is rest and fasting. Mark Twain said, "A little starvation can really do more for the average sick person than the best medicine and the best doctors."
Oh,
And another very interesting
that
point
is
about
so
your
big.
fat, okay, your adipose tissue. Where did it come from? Why did we develop this fat tissue that you hate so much? Well, we developed it from scarcity of food, okay, food scarcity. And what this fat really is, it's an efficient way of surviving. It's a way to make your energy very efficient. And when some people express that they have a damaged or slow or ruined metabolism, what they really have is an efficient metabolism, because now the body can go with just a little bit of food for long periods of time, and that fat is retained. So fat is all about prolonging fuel. It's all about helping you survive when there's no food. So therein lies the secret to losing fat, okay? Can you do it by adding more food, by eating something? No. You want to mimic why we developed it in the first place. We want to mimic starvation, but not really starvation. I want to actually kind of clarify what I mean by mimic, okay?
Not
The difference between fasting and starvation really has to do with one thing: control. Who's in control? When you're fasting, you're in control. When you're starving, you're usually being controlled by the environment because there's no food. So if we were going to mimic starvation, we're really being in control, because we could eat if we want, right? And so the secret to getting rid of your fat really is just to do prolonged fasting, okay? The power of prolonged fasting is just remarkable for your health. So let's go through the 7 critical things that you need to know, okay? The first thing I want to mention is that when you do fasting, you really only want to drink water. You can have tea, you can have some coffee, but you definitely want to take supplements. And the reason is because nowadays people are so deficient in nutrients. So even though when you go through fasting, your body adapts and becomes very efficient at holding nutrients, and the requirement of nutrients is a lot less, you could still have certain deficiencies of both trace minerals, especially, and other things like electrolytes and even the B vitamins. So I recommend taking your supplements. And the 2 main categories of supplements I would recommend are the electrolytes and the B vitamins. But of course, if you can also do some other ones like vitamin D, vitamin C, that would be important. What you don't want to
As
do
long as you don't
is you
put
don't
in
want to
pink,
do like
you will feel nauseous.
branch chain amino acids. You don't want to have little snacks. No, you don't want to do that. And there are some programs that promote that, but I don't recommend that, because what you're going to do is you're going to inhibit this very powerful thing that gives you huge benefits, okay? Called autophagy. What is that? That is a condition.
That's
It's
the
not a
point
thing,
of
it's a condition in your body that basically recycles old damaged proteins, okay? So fasting is the most potent trigger to autophagy. And so autophagy is kind of like self-cleaning. It's cleaning up the old dead proteins. It's cleaning up pathogens in the body. It's stimulating all sorts of genes for long-term survival and longevity. It helps to clean up damaged mitochondria, which is directly behind the root cause of cancer. So this is why prolonged fasting is the best solution to cancer. And if you have not seen my
that's
videos
interesting.
on 2 amazing success stories with cancer, like stage 4 cancer, I'm going to put those down below.
What?
But it's very powerful. So autophagy is a condition where you're recycling like damaged protein. I'm talking like amyloid plaquing that's involved in Alzheimer's. I'm talking about the damaged protein involved in chronic disease, like in your eyes, like from diabetes, from chronic inflammation. And by the way, when you start doing prolonged fasting, you can just erase any inflammation in the body. And it's amazing for autoimmune type conditions as well. So we're recycling damaged proteins, not just your muscles, but proteins involved in the enzymes, all the different metabolic pathways, the things that are damaged. It cleans all that up. So just make sure you do your water, a couple other things like tea and coffee and your supplements, but nothing else. Okay.
I put water.
The other thing I want to bring up is the amount of water. I would recommend at least 2.5 liters of water. Now, there are dry fasts, and that's a whole different thing. But for most of you watching, I don't recommend you do that. Do a water fast. So you're basically drinking a good amount of water. What's interesting about doing a fast, your body will make its own water out of fat, but that's for another video. I just recommend you drink enough water. And the reason I recommend you drink water is when you start fasting, boy, you just dump your glycogen, okay, your stored sugar, and you're burning up the sugar first. And then with that is the release of a lot of fluids, because you have a tremendous amount of water that's tied in with this stored blood sugar in your muscles and in your liver. So you're going to get rid of a good amount of fluid initially. And with that becomes a loss of electrolytes. So you want to put back in those electrolytes. Probably the biggest risk of doing these fast, okay, is when you're doing them without electrolytes, because you can create a lot of problems with your heart. You can faint. You can even have heart attacks. Why? Because you're basically depriving your body of key electrolytes. And realize that sodium chloride is also part of electrolytes, okay? So you need salt and other electrolytes. If you feel weakness in your muscles, that is an indication that you need more salt, okay? And of course, I'm talking about sea salt. And with electrolytes, I'm also talking about potassium, magnesium, calcium, things like that. Now, let's go into number 3, refeeding. This is when you start to eat again. Now, I'm not talking about
I don't see donuts on
intermittent fasting right now. I'm talking about prolonged fasting. When you're fasting 48, 72 hours, you're fasting 5 days, you're fasting, 14 days, 21 days, 30 days, whatever. And you could do a 5-day or even a 21-day fast several times through the year and just keep your health at a whole new level. Some of the problems with fasting that I want to bring up is, like, you don't want to do fasting when you're pregnant, when you're lactating. You don't want to do fasting if you have anorexia. However, if you have stage 4 cancer or cancer in general, personally, I would do prolonged fasting immediately. So if you're doing a prolonged fast, All right. What do you eat coming off the fast? Well, you want to do
I'm just
something healthy, of course, but you don't want to do a big meal. Okay. And you especially do not want to do.
So it's interesting he said about the cancer thing because when our daughter had cancer and they kept trying to feed her foods and she wasn't obviously feeling like eating when she was getting surgery and then getting her kidney removed and all these things, gallbladder, and she was not eating, and she was responding so quickly to with her health by not eating. So it's interesting learning that about the cancer because everybody kept thinking, like the nurses and people kept saying, oh, she's got to eat so she can recover. But really, with her not eating, it was helping her recover quicker. So it's interesting that he's talking about this with the cancer because we know we lived through it. We watched it with her little body at 4 years old going through that cancer and came through with flying colors. But she was a lot of times she just didn't eat. She wasn't eating anything. So she did get smaller, but she got stronger and she got healthier. Like she was tiny, but she was so strong and so healthy and like passing all her tests like week after week, month after month. So there is definitely something to the cancer thing. I didn't know it at the time. I didn't know that till just right now, but so intriguing that was what was happening. It was like God knew that she needed to not eat, and I'm sure she wasn't feeling like eating anyway, and she wasn't taking anybody's advice for it.
Something.
So it's like she had her own mind made up with God and her guardian angel, and they already had a plan that we weren't even in tune with. So it was great that she didn't listen to us and she listened to God's path for her because that fasting actually really helped her with her cancer. So I think this is like great information that he's putting out there. Okay, let's continue.
Thing with refined carbs and sugar. And the
Oh,
reason is
carbs.
because you're going to create a huge shift of potassium, okay, out of the cell. And 98% of all your potassium should be inside that cell. And so in
Interesting.
order to store sugar, you need potassium. So you're going to just suck out this potassium too fast. And you're going to end up with a severe imbalance of potassium in the blood, inside the cell. There's going to be this huge imbalance, and that can create some dangers. So do not do, just regular foods or refined carbs when you come off this prolonged fast. Instead, do a little bit of salad, maybe a little egg, just a little bit of something, and then wait for a couple hours. And then
you learn something
you can maybe have a
there.
little bit of nuts and wait for a little bit, do a little avocado, and gradually kind of come out of this, okay? You do not want to do a big meal.
Okay,
Like
let me back that up. I got
potassium
someone in
too
the
fast.
chat
And you're going to
that might want to hear
something with refined carbs and sugar. And the reason is because you're going to create a huge shift of potassium, okay, out of the cell. And 98% of all your potassium should be inside that cell. And so in order to store sugar, you need potassium. So you're going to just suck out this potassium.
So in order to keep the potassium inside the cell after a long fast, you shouldn't be putting anything in your body that's going to spike your insulin. So you want to keep most of the potassium in the cell. That's what you've been working towards with the fast. So to keep it in the cell for the fast, this is how you should break your fast.
Too fast. And you're going to end up with a severe imbalance of potassium in the blood, inside the cell. There's going to be this huge imbalance, and that can create some dangers. So do not do, just regular foods or refined carbs when you come off this prolonged fast. Instead, do a little bit of salad, maybe a little egg, just a little bit of something, and then wait for a couple hours, and then you can maybe have a little bit of nuts and wait for a little bit, do a little avocado, and gradually kind of come out of this, okay? You do not want to do a big meal. like I did. And that was a really good demonstration of what not to do, because I just pigged out. I ate all this food, ate this huge
What I've
meal,
done before.
and oh my goodness, did I end up with a serious digestive problem,
Yeah.
tired. And I'm like, okay, I will never do that again. In fact, I need to have other people learn from my mistakes.
That's
All
what
right,
I'm
if
trying
you're doing a prolonged fast, and I'm saying probably 72 hours or longer, realize that all these ketones are going to make you pretty acid. It's not a bad thing. It's just that if you're doing apple cider vinegar and you're adding that, you're going to add some more acidity, and that can throw off your pH. And you may find that your pulse rate, it's like a very loud pounding pulse rate in your ear. That's going to make it difficult to sleep because your pH is off, and your breathing might be affected too, like air hunger, like can't get enough air. So just don't do the apple cider vinegar if you're doing a fast longer than 72 hours. You may want to do some baking soda, just a little bit, like an eighth of a teaspoon in some water, and drink that, especially if you start having a buildup of like a gout symptom from the uric acid that goes up. Uric acid is one of the most powerful antioxidants in your blood, and it's a normal thing, but some people that are predisposed to gout might have a flare up, especially when they are doing this initially. Okay, but normally it's not a situation. And number 5, do the healthy version of the ketogenic diet. Don't just go back to regular foods, because first of all, the carbs are going to kind of nullify some of the benefits that you had. Okay, because this whole goal of doing fasting is to get rid of the bad effects of a high carb diet and a junk food diet. So why would you? I would highly recommend with fast dawn phenomenon.
14-day plan?
What is that? That has to do with your blood sugars going up. Okay, maybe between 5 in the morning to 8, like all of a sudden your blood sugars go up, like you didn't eat any sugar. Where is that sugar coming from? Well, your liver is making sugar. Okay, there's a problem with insulin resistance, which is still occurring because it takes quite a while to get rid of that condition. It could take months, even up to a year, or a little bit longer to fully get rid of that. If you have the dawn phenomenon, all that means is that you have insulin resistance. Okay, and I wouldn't worry about it too much. However, if it concerns you, I would go for a long walk and just burn off that sugar. It's not coming from your diet, okay? It's just your liver is making the sugar. And that's a big difference between consuming sugar, all right? You're not going to have a problem. And also, that problem is going to go away with time, versus some people might think, oh, fasting is bad because it raised my sugar, so I'm going to stop doing that. That would be a mistake. And so a couple of little things that you can do, you can probably take berberine or other things like cinnamon to help reduce insulin resistance, okay? All right, number 7, knowing when to break your fast. Now, should you just dive right into a prolonged fast? Well, you know what? You could. Are you going to feel great? Maybe not, especially if you haven't fasted. You're going to have to go through a period of time where your body adapts. And so it might take you several days before you start feeling good. So a lot of people do this gradually, and they kind of ease into it after doing, weeks of intermittent fasting. So you could just cold turkey, just jump right in and do prolonged fasting, okay? However, when you start fasting, what you're really doing is you're switching from the glucose fuel to the fat fuel, okay? And then also the body then has to make new enzymes for ketones, okay? So your body actually is running on fatty acids as well as ketones, especially for your brain. Your brain can't run on fatty acids. It runs on ketones. So just think about this. You're not going to feel really good in your head when you start doing fasting, simply because it takes a while to develop ketones. So in the meantime, what you could do is take MCT oil, or you can take ketone supplements and get rid of those symptoms. However, you may not feel good mentally at first, but then you start adapting and your appetite goes away and you feel good. That's a really good indication that you've adapted. Okay, so if you're doing this gradual, okay, there's always going to be a transition phase where you're going to have to go through something that's going to be uncomfortable. But just realize, push through that. Like you might have hunger pains, you might feel a little bit kind of off, but then If you push through that, that will go away because your body is forced to adapt to this new method of burning fuel. There's no other shortcuts other than just pushing through that sometimes. So at some point, going from intermittent fasting to prolonged fasting, you're going to have to go through a little bit of this transition.
Best
It's
way
normal.
is
It's not
always
abnormal.
through.
I'm just letting you know before you go through it so you can not be freaked out about it. But when I say don't eat if you're not hungry, eat when you're hungry, I'm mainly talking about doing intermittent fasting. But when we get into prolonged fasting, should you eat when you're hungry? No, actually, we're going to just push through that to the other side. Okay, so that's kind of a little bit of a little point I want to bring up. Now, since we're on the topic of fasting, I think it'd be very important for you to learn a little bit more about how to speed up the process, and that would be how to make insulin more sensitive. So you should watch this video right here.
Fix insulin resistance. We're definitely want to dive into that for people that have had.
Today I want to show you a very
We'll put that on the next go round. Unless you want to watch this on your own terms, you totally can. It's called The Best Diet and Exercise for Stubborn Belly Fat. But so insulin resistance is mainly for those that have had such a long history of putting all this bad food in, and you haven't done any type of meal changing or diet plans in a long time. Your insulin resistance, meaning it's very stubborn and doesn't want to move. That is what he means by that, is insulin resistance. Let me put this in my playlist. There we go. Actually, I'm going to make a new playlist for my podcast. And then I'm going to put that right here. Let's see, info vids. Okay, so a couple things. I want to touch on a couple things before we do go here. Yeah, I figured it out, Bo. I think it's when I'm switching over and I'm messing over with the other site. Tell me if I go blurry now. I should go probably a little blurry right now. It's when I'm switching over and messing with this the other site that's connected. But so when you do start, we're slowly, shrinking your window, and I'm hoping, because we're doing it this way, if you're doing the 15-day plan, the 15-day program right now, then you shouldn't have this problem. But if you're on your own and you're trying to just dive in, like what he said, just going into the deep end with fasting and like shrinking your window immediately, going to like 1 meal a day or 2 meals a day, you might find yourself getting very nauseous at first. Like you feel like you're just super nauseous and you want to put, food in your mouth to get over the nausea, but don't do it because it will pass. And the reason that I also created the 15-day program that we're on is because I wanted to kind of nip that nausea in the bud. So the reason the nausea is happening is because your body is so used to putting so much food. It knows, it's your body's so smart, and it knows, okay, I'm getting a breakfast meal, I'm getting all these snacks, I'm getting this lunch that's coming through. I need to put all the acid in the stomach so it can start breaking out all this down. So it's going to keep putting that acid in the stomach, ready to break that food down, but you're not putting the food in there. So it will make you feel a little nauseous. You don't normally feel nauseous, but that's because the acid in your stomach has a job to do, and it's eating off that food. But if you're not putting the food in there and you're trying to shrink up your window, so if you're feeling the nausea, that is normal. That is a part of it. You just got to find something else to do. Maybe deep breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth, breathe through it, drink some water, drink some lemon water, or drink a tea, or drink some of your coffee, whatever the case is best for you. Coffee might be a little too stimulating if you're feeling nauseous, but don't break. Like, it will pass. Your body will start to re-gauge how much acid you're going to need in your stomach for the food. It'll start to readapt. It might take 5 days, it might take a week, could take 2 weeks. It depends on how long you've been eating that way. How long have you been eating the breakfast, a lunch, a dinner, snacks, and all the way through. How long have you been doing that? If it's been a long time, then it might take you a couple weeks for that nausea to subside, but each passing day, it's going to get less and less and less. Might only take a couple days, but it will pass, and stick to it. Just stick to it and push through it, and you will see the other side of that is so much brighter, and you will not have that ever again, as long as you're staying back in that window. And you might learn something big about yourself, is that you really aren't hungry in the morning. And all of the studies, that's why the video, the Funny or Die video I had at the beginning of this podcast is literally like, I'm glad that they're making comedy out of it, making it a funny, but it's so true. Like, they said, "Oh, breakfast is the most important meal. You have to have breakfast." And then, "Oh, wait, no, you don't need to have breakfast. You have to eat 3 meals a day." "Oh, wait, no, you don't have to eat 3 meals a day. You need to have complex carbs in your diet." "Oh, wait, actually, you don't need to have complex carbs. There's a lot of problems with that." So, I mean, it's ever changing, and I think we're finally at a place that there's enough doctors out there that are trying to educate people more than just medicate people. And I think that's so important, is to be educated and not just pushed medication on. Because when you're educated, you get to have your say now. You get to know, okay, this is how my body, this is what's going on in my body. This is how your body reacts to certain things. And now I can choose, do I want to do it this? Do I want to try going this way, or do I want to medicate it to do that? I mean, some people just can't get their their mind right and their mind behind it, and that's fine. Everybody's different. There's no judgment from me. You got to do what you got to do, but whatever path you're taking to get on that, like, a lot of people taking the shots, whatever path it takes you to get on, to start seeing that your body change, and you're really, all the shots are doing is helping you not eat as much. So basically you're fasting, but it's forcing you because you're not feeling hungry, and you're feeling maybe even a little nauseous, depending on how you're responding to those shots. But I feel like if you can do it the natural way, I would definitely go that realm. There's not enough studies on those shots yet, and what the effects are long term on those shots. So I try not to I push that to anyone, but sometimes people are just very stuck in their space, and they need an assistance to go through. And if that's something that helps you get to the other side so you can start making those big changes, then, you know, everybody's path is different, but the end game should be the same, which is shrinking up all the insulin in your body, getting your health in check, getting your inflammation in check, getting all of the fat around your organs and the stuff that is really boggling you down, all of the things that your body doesn't it's not serving any positive purpose. That's the end goal, right? Not just losing the weight and looking better and feeling great and all the mental benefits that come along with it. Those are all bonus perks of what this journey is. So, but everything inside that you can't see on the outside, those things being in tip-top shape that you probably never even felt like that before. I know when I started intermittent fasting and doing keto and cutting the carbs all out, along with doing the intermittent fasting, like the plan that I'm doing with you guys right now. I know when I first started that, oh my gosh, I was like, "Okay, so this is different," which, I like a good challenge, especially at the end of the challenge if it's making me feel the way I was feeling. Like, I've been eating, I don't know, like fried foods and like processed foods out of the box, mac and cheese and all the stuff since I was a kid. So I mean, it wasn't until my adult life where I was like, "Oh, okay, well, let me stop eating this and let me stop eating that." So when I actually learned about the fasting part of it was like, you know, game changer, a game changer. Because I never was told or taught or learned in all of my years, even when I'm going through my nutrition licensing, even with this all the health and nutrition licensing and knowledge and structure and class and all of the things that you learn. There's nowhere that it talks about fasting and fasting being so beneficial. but I've heard so many doctors talking about it, and Dr. Berg is one of the first, and he's the one I kind of stick with because I just like the way that he comes about it. He never asked for any money. He didn't ask, to buy any of his programs. He was just simply putting it out there saying, "Wait, stop, hold on. If you've got type 2 diabetes, or you're pre-diabetic, or you have no thyroid, and you got no gallbladder, and you've got, aches and pains and ailments, and you have a slow metabolism, let me help you. Let me tell you how you can do this without getting on all those pills that are so damaging to your organs. Let me tell you how to fix these things, and you can do it on your own without going through those big major surgeries." I've even had clients say, "I really wish I would have known this information before I had my thyroid removed, because I feel like I could have reversed it." And he has videos on that, how you can reverse a slow thyroid, how you can reverse and change all these different ailments that you have going on, how you can make a change with just what you put in your mouth or what you choose not to put in your mouth. So it's really great knowledge, and I'm gonna be on here helping you guys see it and helping you learn and helping you with this challenge, because there really is no better quality of life than being healthy. Like, being healthy, having energy, having your mind balanced, having your moods balanced, being in a good headspace. You're able to deal with more, you're able to handle more with grace and positive attitude and happiness, and not anger and frustration and all of those things that come along with eating bad, eating poorly, and having just like this whole dysfunction going on inside of your body with all your chemicals. So it's an all around just quality of life. And I want to 1,000,000% be here to try and help you guys living your best life from the inside out. And I truly, truly mean that from the bottom of my heart. I know you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. And I know we can do it together. So I really do appreciate you guys. I did go over time. I seem to keep going over time, but I appreciate you guys being here. And I am going to be posting some stuff up over the weekend every single day until Thanksgiving. So today's day 3. We got 12 more days to go. Whoopsie. Sorry, Dad. Mathematician there. So 12 more days. I'm going to post every day on what your guidelines are of what you're supposed to follow for the day. We're shrinking that by an hour. Just so you know, we're shrinking it by an hour. So we started at 10-hour. Second day was a 9-hour. Today is an 8-hour. We're going tomorrow into a 7-hour. You get what I'm saying? We're going shrinking the eating window. The eating window is shrinking. That's the main change. Everything else, drinking more water, trying to drink a gallon of water a day. That's the end goal. That's the goal we're trying to work up to. So trying to drink a gallon of water a day. So only thing that's changing right now, I already took out the sugars. I already took out the sweets and soda drinks and sweet teas. Any of those sweet drinks, you want to put some Mio in your drink, or you want to put some fresh squeezed lemon, or you want to put anything that's stevia or monk fruit sweetened in your drink, perfect. But do not put all those processed sugar drinks while you're doing this 15 days. And then no sweets, no extra sweets. That means no ice cream, no cakes, no Debbie treats, none of that, none of that, none of that. You want to eat some fruit, eat some fruit. But we're cutting out those extra sweets. You can have carbs. You want to eat your carbs for right now till the end of this week. I am going to be taking those out so you can eat your carbs, but you're shrinking your window, taking out those fried foods. None of those fried foods, no chips. We're gonna reel that snacking in. Right now, I haven't taken the snacking away, but that's where we're headed. That's where we're headed. But we're slowly gonna do it. Baby steps. You guys know I'm about those little feats for those big rewards. That's my jam. That's what I practicing what I preach. Little baby steps. So it doesn't feel so overwhelming. But I just want you to know that this is gonna be so good. Let's go. Thank you. I love you too. Thanks for helping encourage these folks. It's true. Oh, I'm sorry, Bo. You said Warriors game tonight, Buckeyes game tomorrow, 49ers game Sunday. I'll be working out watching all 3, arms and ab roller. There you go. What about your legs? You named 3. What's that? 1, 2. You named 3 days. You're gonna work your arms every single day. What about your legs, Bo? You can't leave those legs out. Boys, do some squats. Girls like a guy with a nice butt too. Come on. Come on. You guys leave your legs out and leave your booty out. Stop doing that. No, no, no. Abs, you can do those every day. Love it. Great. Great for you to do. I hope your teams do well. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. I am going to be posting up some good, quick, and easy recipes that you can throw together that are super yummy. Even some good dips for the games, for football games. I got some great dip ideas that are so yummy, a buffalo chicken dip and a layered bean dip. I got some great recipes and I'll put those up on my page, on my pages. But I am definitely excited for the journey for you guys. 15 days and that Thanksgiving is going to feel so good that you did it. You put the time in. You're getting a reward back on that Thanksgiving day, and you have so much to be thankful for and grateful for. And you're going to have a better life, a quality life. And that's what you should want to live while we're here on this earth, is that nice quality life. So this is going to get you there. I promise you. I wouldn't steer you wrong. And I am also an advocate of preaching out what I practice and what I know to be true for myself. Walking miles. Nice. Exact. There you go. There you go. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you, all my OGs. Thank you, Bo. Thank you. I love you too. Thank you, Hal. Thank you guys for being here and stopping by. And for all those that I can't see you on the feed, if you go to YouTube and you join the feed on YouTube, then I'll be able to see you guys in your feed, and you'll be able to interact there. Or on Facebook, I'm not sure if I don't know why it doesn't do it on Instagram. I tried to figure that out so many times, but it's just stuck. But YouTube is where I'm streaming from. So I really appreciate you guys' support. Please, sharing is caring. If you know anybody that could benefit from this knowledge, yesterday was a talk about belly fats and body types and eating for your body type. So if there's anybody you know that could benefit, just please do. Sharing is caring. I am trying to grow the YouTube channel, so I do appreciate any love given there. And of course, I always have my little QR code, and I do appreciate those of you that have been donating to me and also to the funds for the people in Asheville. They're slowly getting it together, but it's a work in progress there. It's going to be a while, unfortunately, and it's very cold there now. So I do have the QR code up for that, for their donation for sleeping bags and blow-up beds. So I hope that you guys have a wonderful weekend. Thank you so, so much for being here and supporting me. And I will see you in the next video. And please stick to it. 15 days. Come on. You can do it. You can do it. Don't hide it. Divide it. Divided it. I don't know if I get what you're saying, but I love you anyway. So I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And I will see you guys on here on live stream next week.